Welcome to the GLP-1 Wellness Workshop. The response when we shared that we were going to be doing a GLP-1 workshop was overwhelming. And I am so grateful that I actually am not the one hosting this actual live event, but my friend, Dr. Carrie Briscoe, actually is going to be guiding us through some of the most important considerations if we've been thinking about possibly taking a GLP-1 as a medication, or if we are maybe just curious about it, or we actually don't have any interest in taking it, but we want to be able to stimulate our own GLP-1 hormone naturally. And all of this really started in a side conversation that I had with I saw Rachel just comment in there with Carrie not too long ago about some things that I have been personally experiencing in my own life. And you can't help but notice that everywhere right now, there seems to be this movement of people who are using GLP-1s as a medication. And you hear things on both sides. You hear things about how great it is, and then you hear other people telling really cautious tales about what it is like. And so I really wanted to get the perspective of somebody who had a background in nutrition and somebody who really spends a lot of time analyzing and researching this type of nutrition and this type of information. And so Dr. Carrie Briscoe is going to join us this evening, and she's going to be sharing some of the considerations that every single one of us should really think about before saying yes, or even if we are on one, we're going to want to consider as we are making sure that we are creating a lifestyle around it as well. But before we do any of that, I want to kick this off by sharing, we're doing a fun little giveaway tonight. I am so excited for this giveaway. We're going to be giving away a bottle of our Firm Cream. So if you don't know anything about this Firm Cream, it's called NeoraFit, and it's a contouring cream. So you know how sometimes we get those dimples on our skin, especially as we get older, or if we are losing weight, we start to notice them a little bit more. So tonight we are actually going to be giving away a bottle of this Firm Cream for somebody who is listening in at the very, very end of this call. So if you want to be entered, guess what? All you're going to have to do is actually put your name in the chat bar at the very end, and you will be, your name will be drawn from to win this Firm Cream that is valued at $85. So while we are getting prepared and excited about all of this, I would love to know where you are from, where you are listening from, and who invited you onto this call this evening. So I want to know in the comment section. Go ahead and light up the screen. And just to show you a couple pictures, this is actually what our Firm Cream does. This is actually after 2 months of consistent usage. This is the neck. And then here is just an example of what I was talking about with maybe some of that dimpling. And it's going to be so much fun to see who wins it. You're going to absolutely love it. It's perfect as we kind of like get rid of the winter months coming up. I swear that spring is on its way, right? So go ahead, share with us where you are listening from. And if you want to, I would love to hear, are you considering a GLP-1? Are you maybe taking one? How are you feeling as you are taking one? Or have you maybe made the decision not to take a GLP-1? And while you guys are maybe having this conversation in the chat bar, which is awesome, I actually want to now take a minute to introduce you to my dear friend, Carrie Briscoe. So Carrie, hi, how are you tonight?
Hey, good.
Good. Are you so excited to get started tonight?
I'm super pumped. I'm like ready to nerd out.
I know. And I know this is your sweet spot. So I literally cannot wait to actually get this conversation started. And just giving everybody a little bit of background too. Carrie and I have worked together for a couple of years. We both come from the wellness space. And Carrie is definitely somebody I trust when it comes to all things nutrition. I know I have picked your brain multiple times about my own meal plans, my own strategies. And I just think that all of you are going to be so blessed this evening by hearing a little bit of her perspective. So actually, Carrie, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to mute myself and my camera, and I am giving it all to you.
Okay, sounds good. Hey guys, hello. I'm so stoked that you guys are here tonight. I'm excited for our conversation. I just want to let you know that I will not be able to see the chat as I'm talking, but if you have questions, throw them up and I will get to them. I promise when I finish talking, or Katie will let me know, like if there's some really reoccurring ones in the chat. Just go ahead and keep the chat bar lit up because it really does give me life. And by the way, my name is Carrie Briscoe. Hi. There's a lot of letters you see there after my name. All those mean basically is I am a doctor of physical therapy. I have been for the last 13, maybe even 14 years. I lost track. I specialize in orthopedic injuries and Parkinson's disease. I am also a certified wellness coach and a certified nutritionist. And the most hilarious thing about the nutrition part is if you had talked to me like a year ago, I would have been like, oh, don't talk to me about nutrition. It was just not really my thing. But I entered into a season, and I don't know if any of you guys feel me on this. I'm 37 years old. I'm a mom of 3. My son is 8. My girls, I have twin girls that are 6 years old. I entered into the season of life where I had just come out of a decade of kind of cyclical, I guess you could call them fad diets, or I would just go through these spurts of like working out really hard and being really on point with nutrition. And then I would just kind of like let it go for a while. And then I'd get back into it. And then I kind of let it go. And that went on for like a decade of time in my life. And after those 10 years, my body was kind of just like, I can't, you got to stop. I can't do it anymore. Like my cortisol was through the roof. I was just felt puffy and inflamed everywhere. I felt like I had kind of lost my muscle tone. My energy was in the dumpster at that point. Like I was so tired. And I was just like, what is going on with my body? It just didn't feel like my body, even though I was doing what I normally did, something felt super off. And it was at that point that I felt like I was hearing about GLP-1s everywhere. Like it was just like, and I mean the medication. And we'll talk more about what I mean by that. But I was hearing about GLP-1 medications everywhere. As a medical health professional, I was like, I don't know what these things are. I don't know what they do. Are they good for you? Are they poison? I literally have no idea. Like I was just, I just didn't know. And I was seeing these incredible results that people were getting with them. And I got super curious. So I was like, let me just like dive in a little bit. So that actually spurred on the certification that I got in nutrition. I did some continuing education classes on GLP-1 medications because I really wanted to know what is the actual science behind all of these things. And I honestly kind of was mind blown by the end of all of it. And I'm going to present all of this to you tonight in hopefully a very understandable way. What I want you to know first and foremost is that this is education only. Okay. I am not providing any type of medical advice. I'm not prescribing. I'm not diagnosing. I do not sell GLP-1 medications. I do not take them. And we'll talk about why I made that decision for myself later. I also want you to understand that even though I do not take them, I am not anti GLP-1 injections and I'm not pro GLP-1 injections. I'm very neutral because in the world of medicine, there are really very few absolutes. There are really very few black and white things that work for the general public. So everything is very nuanced. Everything is a little bit complicated, depends on your specific biology, your specific medical history. And we'll get into that a little bit more too. What I really care about as a physical therapist and as like the the ultimate health nerd, you could probably call me, is I really care about understanding your body better and how it works. Because I think that when we understand our body and how it works, we are better equipped to really care for it in the way that it deserves and in the way that it needs. So I'm really hoping that tonight you get clarity. I'm really hoping and praying that tonight you feel empowered in your health and you feel like you can get back some control if maybe you feel like you've lost it. And I'm hoping that you gain some confidence moving forward with some of the tools that we're going to give you. Okay, Katie, we can go to the next slide. So first and foremost, before we talk about anything else at all, I want you guys to be crystal clear on your goal in your health. Because if you're sitting here, I'm guessing that you have a health goal. And I'm guessing it probably has to do with weight loss because that is a lot of the chatter around GLP-1 medications is weight loss. What I desire for you is to look beyond that number, okay? I'm an 80s baby. I grew up in the 90s. Like Katie and I joked last week that I basically lived off of Big Macs and Diet Cokes growing up. So I understand that we have a little bit of a skewed perception of the scale and diet culture and all of that. I totally get it. But here's the deal. What good is weight loss if it's not accompanied by increased energy, an elevated mood, decreased stress, right? Increased strength and endurance? What good is that number? Because there's a lot of ways that we can get to a number on the scale, and some of them will actually make you sick. And some of them will actually make you malnourished. And I don't think that is your goal. I think if you're sitting here tonight, I would encourage you to look beyond the weight loss and look towards your goal of maybe more energy, maybe better mental clarity. Maybe you want to go play tennis. Let's put that picture in here, or dance with your kids or your grandkids. Maybe you want to get up and down off the floor without pain, right? Like think about your actual life and what is meaningful to you. Because no matter what path to weight loss you take, those should be the outcomes that you're really looking for. Okay, let's skip to the next slide. We're going to talk now about GLP-1s. Get ready, you guys. We're going to dive in. I put the injection on here and like the weight loss little picture because that's what a lot of us think about with GLP-1s. We think that it's a medication. GLP-1 is actually a hormone that your body produces. It's called glucagon-like peptide, and it's produced in your gut after you eat. You can see that in that picture there in the middle. What it does is it communicates to other parts of your body. So it's a hormone, it's a communicator. It communicates to your brain to tell your brain that you are full, you are satisfied, and you can stop eating. It communicates to your stomach and reduces or slows the gastric emptying so that your stomach has time to digest the nutrients that you just took in to make sure they're absorbed properly. It signals to the pancreas and lets the pancreas know, okay, you can stimulate some insulin now, and it suppresses glucagon, and that all plays into blood sugar. So really, at the end of the day, GLP-1 is not about weight loss. It's about communication in your body from your gut to these other systems. But what can happen, and maybe you feel this way, is that communicator, that signal can get a little muddy, right? Like it can get a little blurry. Katie, you can go to the next slide for me. Maybe your communication is not that strong in your body, right? So if GLP-1 is a communicator and we have it in our body, why does it feel less effective for some of us? Have you guys ever felt like that? Like maybe what if it's supposed to be doing its job, why is it not doing its job? Or maybe you just learned that it actually has a job and that's what it is. That's okay too. So there's a lot of things that can create this disrupted signal, okay? Chronic stress and nervous system overload. How many of you ladies or men, if you're on here, feel mentally exhausted even when you get 7, 8+ hours of sleep, right? How many of us are just going day to day living in this constant state of elevated cortisol? We are surrounded by stressors. Even if you don't feel like you're in a stressed state, our environment really lends itself to environmental stressors, right? Like the blue lights, the fact that we have a hard time shutting off work at the end of the day. We're just constantly running from thing to thing. We are completely overloaded. And cortisol competes with your satiety hormones, and satiety is that feeling of fullness. A stressed nervous system prioritizes survival over fullness. So that disrupts the GLP-1 signal. And then we have blood sugar instability. And that kind of presents more like you're feeling hungry or really irritable mid-afternoon, right? Maybe you have those spikes and crashes in your blood sugar. That can look like ultra processed food. It can look like super sugary. Maybe you start your day with a super sugary coffee and you skip breakfast. I've definitely been there. That lends itself to that blood sugar instability, which also really affects and blunts our GLP-1 response in our body. And then we have gut health and inflammation. Gut health is essential to your GLP-1 signaling in your body, your natural GLP-1 signaling. Your gut is where the GLP-1 hormone is produced. Okay, let that sink in for a second. If your gut health is in the dumpster, then that GLP-1 production is not going to be very good. So we need to focus on our gut health. Also, inflammation. So inflammation is water, right? Think about being in a pool, think about holding your breath and going underwater and someone standing on the pool deck talking to you. Like you might hear them, you might know they're saying something, but you have no idea what they're saying because it's kind of muffled because you're underwater. That's what inflammation does in our body. It surrounds cells and disrupts the communication and the signaling. Okay, it interferes with all of that. So the signaling exists, the receiver just isn't really hearing it clearly. And then I have under that these life stage shifts because I think it's really important to understand that this conversation is not dependent on your age, right? Like you might be in your 20s, 30s, you might be dealing with certain stressors, and then you might be in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're dealing with other things, right? So, like when we're younger, we have that diet culture, that overtraining, that high stress from college, starting a job, starting a family, all of that, right? Inconsistent fueling. And then as we age and get older, we're dealing more with the perimenopause and the menopausal symptoms, the estrogen fluctuations, the reduced insulin sensitivity in our body, which can play into the blood sugar. We deal with sleep disruption. We deal with compounded stress over time. Like this is not something that just affects one age group. This is something that really affects all of us in our modern society, unfortunately. Okay, Katie, we could go to the next slide. So what this might feel like, and let me know in the chat if you feel any of these things on a daily basis. And you might have some of these symptoms, you might have all of them, or you might have none of them. Okay, so what it might feel like to have a disrupted GLP-1 signal in your body would be like constant thoughts of food. People call this food noise. Eating, but never feeling satisfied. So you don't really have that off switch when you eat. Craving something shortly after you eat. Energy crashes during the day, which we talked about. Midsection weight gain, when you start to get that weight around your hips and your belly and you're just like, what the heck, you weren't here before, why are you here and why can't I get rid of you, right? Or this general puffiness and inflammation. These are all kind of signs, symptoms of a disrupted GLP-1 signal. So now that you understand a little bit about GLP-1, how it works in your body, what its role is, let's talk about the actual injectable medication, because this is where a lot of people don't get really fully educated and we have a lot of questions. So just know, as I'm talking about these injectables, there are 4 widely researched, FDA approved, prescription only GLP-1 medications. Semaglutide, liraglutide, there will not be a quiz on this, dulaglutide and tirzepatide, okay? Those are the ones I'm talking about when I talk about the research. And I want to be really clear about that because this has blown up. People have caught on to the fact that GLP-1 medications do what they do, and it has now, there's a lot of over-the-counter medications. You can literally buy them on Amazon. Please do not do that. Please do not open up Amazon right now. Over-the-counter medications are not the same as prescription medications, okay? They're not FDA approved. They're not clinically validated in rigorous human trials like these are. They lack standardized dosing. They're not backed by peer-reviewed research. And you can't really be sure of the effectiveness. You can't be sure of the quality or the purity in the over-the-counter brands or the general safety. So this is my disclaimer. Just know that I am talking about the prescription GLP-1 medications. And I always, always, always would encourage you, if this is something you are pursuing, to talk to your doctor about them and get them from a legitimate pharmacy. Okay, there's my disclaimer. So GLP-1 injectable medications, even though I thought they just came on the scene like a year ago, they were actually developed in the early 2000s to treat diabetes. Who knew? Who knew? Now you know. The treatment was for diabetes, but what they found as a side effect was this weight loss. And they were like, that's a happy side effect. This is great. So they started to become more widely prescribed to treat obesity. Now, the assumption is that obesity is a disease and it requires medical assistance to treat, just like you would high cholesterol or a thyroid disorder. And now these things change all the time with insurance. As of right now, to qualify for these prescription medications through your doctor or for insurance to cover them, depending on your insurance, you have to have a BMI, which is a body mass index of 27 or greater. You can Google that real quick online. There's all kinds of BMI calculators, and then they might try to sell you a GLP-1. Ignore that. And then you have to have at least one other comorbidity that goes along with it. And a comorbidity looks something like another thing in your health history, right? Like high cholesterol, heart disease, something like that. So there's kind of two checks that they're looking for to see if you would qualify medically for the prescriptive GLP-1 medications. And they are pretty widely successful. They average up to 20% of total body weight loss. What I want you to hear with that is when these were studied and when they came up with that number is that was over a 72-week period. Okay, so that was over a year of time that happened. It was not overnight. It was also, please hear this, in conjunction with exercise, nutrition, and behavioral therapy. So these injectable GLP-1s were not researched as the solution alone. They were researched in conjunction with very specific lifestyle changes, which is a super important fact. Some insurances actually do require you to incorporate some of those things, which I think is wonderful, but not all of them do. Okay, next slide, my friend. Let's talk about some of the benefits and the risks, okay? And this is, again, this is not me telling you what to do. This is just me laying out there what is in the research so far. So benefits, weight loss. We've seen the weight loss, right? And with that weight loss comes the decreased risk of all-cause mortality, which is a great thing, right? That's a really actually great thing because obesity is an epidemic in our country. There's a decreased mental burden associated with these medications. And what you'll hear from people that really struggle is that it reduces that food noise. It reduces like that feeling of thinking about food all day long, right? So it gives them kind of a load off of themselves mentally. And then also as they lose weight, it decreases that mental burden that can come from being obese in terms of what you're able to do, right? And then there's also some possible cognitive benefits to the medication, but that is still being researched. That is not verified yet. It's just something that they're exploring. Now, in terms of the risks with the medication, you have a risk of muscle wasting, which is a loss of lean muscle mass on your body. Lean muscle is the fountain of youth, you guys. If you didn't know, now you know, okay? Go pick up a weight. Lean muscle is the fountain of youth. Bone density loss, there's an associated risk with that. That is something that leads to osteoporosis and possibly fractures later in life. GI distress, that looks like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. That's because it is slowing the gastric emptying of your stomach. And so you actually can feel more full for longer. Oh, Katie just threw something up for me, probably from the chat. How does it work to reduce the food noise? So remember how I told you that GLP signaling signals to different areas of your body? One of the areas it signals to is your brain, and it tells your brain that you're full. So when you're getting a really strong GLP signal, your brain understands that your body's full and does not tell your body that it needs to eat. So that's the simplest way I can say that it reduces that food noise, because your brain just says, okay, we're good. We don't need to think about it, right? Hopefully that makes sense. There are also some unknown long-term implications with the medication. So this is just something that has not been studied. Like there's no cohort of people that have taken the medication every single day for 20 years that have been studied. So it's not to say that there are long-term implications. We just don't know yet if there are long-term implications. And what's also important to note when you're looking at these risks, the top two, the muscle wasting and the bone density loss, that is not a direct correlation to the medicine. That is actually correlated to the weight loss. And I don't want to say weight loss in general. I want to say the drastic weight loss so quickly, because that is what can happen with these medications, because they are an appetite suppressant. So you just don't get hungry, or you don't feel as hungry. So you lose a lot of weight pretty quickly. When you lose a lot of weight pretty quickly, most of the time there's a loss of muscle mass that comes in that weight that you're losing, unless you're working really, really hard to prevent that through strength training. That is a great question, Katie. I just saw, is there a test to check GLP-1 levels? I actually do not know. That's a great question. If there's a medical provider in the chat that knows the answer to that, feel free to chime in. I don't know that actually. What was I saying? Oh, muscle wasting, bone density loss. With the bone density loss, that also comes from the drastic weight loss. Bones and the denseness of your bones respond to force. So the heavier you are, actually, the more dense you have, the more density you have in your bones. As you lose weight, that releases force from your bones. And so that's where we can lose some bone density. Again, unless you're working really hard to combat that with strength training. There's a theme here, you guys. You can get your hormone checked overall though, right? Maybe, yes, you can get a hormone panel. You can absolutely, it's called a Dutch test. You can request that from your doctor. I don't know if there's anything specific on the Dutch test with GLP-1 levels. I don't know if that's something that they're typically concerned with. I don't know that the levels are usually a thing that they look at. That's a great question though, and that's a great conversation to have with your doctor. Okay, next slide. Since we talked about the benefits and the risks, now let's talk about natural GLP-1. The biggest difference between your naturally produced GLP-1 and your synthetic injectable GLP-1 is actually something called the half-life. The half-life is the amount of time that it lives in your body. So with naturally produced GLP-1 in the gut, the half-life is 2 to 4 minutes long. So it's a very short period of time. The GLP-1 medications last for a week. Okay, think about that. That's a big difference, right? So essentially what the medication is doing is they're saying that if you're struggling with obesity or something like that, then the communication signals aren't as great in your body. They're not as strong. So we're just going to pound them as often as we can throughout the week to hope that something gets through. Katie wants me to repeat that one more time. Natural GLP-1 production in your body lives in your body for 2 to 4 minutes. That is how long it appears before it is gone. The injectable GLP-1 medications live in your body for a week. Okay? Now, we cannot, there's no research to show yet that we can extend the half-life of our natural GLP-1. What we can do is we can stimulate more frequent and robust GLP-1 release. So we can stimulate production of GLP-1 more often, and we can make the body more receptive to the GLP-1 that's being produced. So we can strengthen the communication channels. We can take the earmuffs off. We can make the body more sensitive to that GLP-1 signal. This is something that I started diving into a year ago with my own health journey. You'll see that's my picture on the right there. This is when I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do, how I could really work with my body. And you'll see if you just look from the left to the right was a year after I started implementing some things to help encourage my body to stimulate more GLP-1 naturally and to be more receptive to it. I lost inflammation. You can see my overall mood is much better. Even my skin, you can tell in my skin that there's just a brighter appearance there, right? So I was feeling so much better. And some of the high level drivers of this stimulation of GLP-1 production would be like adequate protein intake, fiber and gut stimulation, balanced meals that stabilize blood sugar, and eating patterns that avoid extreme spikes and crashes. So like how I talked about having that real sugary coffee in the morning with no food, you want to avoid doing that. We actually have, I don't know if Katie or Rachel have it available to put in the chat. I made a checklist for you guys so I didn't have to get too in the weeds because I knew I'd be talking a lot. I made a checklist for you guys that's kind of like a daily habits checklist to help produce more natural GLP-1. Don't let it overwhelm you. If they can't drop it in the chat, I'll drop it in the chat when I'm done. Look at those habits and decide like 1 or 2 that you can start working on now and get really good at, and then build on that over time. I did work on gut healing as well. Katie's asking me if I worked on gut healing. I absolutely did. And that is something we're going to talk about in a second. So in this whole journey, really, we're not trying to hold on to our GLP-1 longer. We're creating more moments where the body chooses to release it. And we're also improving the receptiveness of the body. So key factors that reduce receptiveness, we already kind of talked about, right? Like chronic inflammation, the blood sugar instability, the nervous system stress. So you want to work on stress management. You want to work on decreasing overall inflammation. You want to work on your gut health. Let's skip to the next slide, Katie, so we can talk about that a little bit. Oh, look, it's my checklist. I didn't even know this was in here. That's my checklist. I can't hear you.
I tried to add it to the chat and I couldn't add it to the chat. So I was like, maybe everybody can take a screenshot. So that's what I wanted to share. If you want to chat for a minute about it, that's fine too.
I was going to say, we can pause and screenshot. Okay, screenshot this, you guys. We can send it out after also. This is, like I said, just small daily habits. These are not crazy. These are to reduce your stress. This is to reduce your inflammation. This is to help support gut health. So you'll see a little bit of nutritional guidance in here, like the color on your plate at every meal, having a protein anchor in the morning. No food 2 to 3 hours before bed. That's one that I struggle with sometimes to really help with your gut at night, and so that you get good sleep, because that all plays into it as well. So hopefully you got your little screenshot. I can figure out how to send it out afterwards too, you guys. Don't stress about that. But I did want you to have a resource so that you had something to start working through. Okay, so in my opinion, you might have come to this asking the question like, what is GLP-1, or should I get a GLP-1 injection or should I not? I really don't actually think that that is the right question. I think the right question is whether or not you choose to go with a GLP-1 medication. Are you optimizing your GLP-1 pathways? Because if you're taking a GLP-1 medication and you're not optimizing those pathways, then maybe you're not getting great results, or you could be getting better results. If you're not wanting to take a GLP-1 medication and you're not optimizing your GLP-1 pathways, then you might just stay feeling stuck, right? And so I put pictures on here to kind of show what these look like, right? We talked about exercise and strength training, how important that is. We talked about a little bit about nutrition. That's more specific on the checklist that I gave you guys, and that plays into your gut health and also your inflammation. And then what I started to incorporate a year ago is a holistic supplementation system called NeoraFit. I fell in love with it. It's not about replacing what the body does. It's really about helping the body do what it was designed to do more effectively. So thank you, Katie. She put a nice little picture in here. NeoraFit has a 3-step system, and we'll play a little video at the end of this to describe it more fully. This is just something that I started to incorporate to work on the things that I knew I needed to work on. So you have a collagen powder in the morning, super simple to take. You can mix it in coffee. You can mix it in your breakfast. Supports collagen production, which helps with the lean muscles, supports your joints, supports your metabolism. There's also MCT powder in there, which helps with brain health. So it's a great boost in the morning, also helps with energy. And then you have block and balance pre and probiotic, which in my opinion, if we're talking GLP-1 production, this is probably the most powerful part of the system. These pre and probiotics are for gut health. That is their whole job. And like I said, gut health is the most important part of improving our GLP-1 production and receptiveness, right? So the really cool thing about the block and balance is I was dairy-free for like 9 years, almost 10 years of my life, completely dairy-free, very lactose intolerant. And I am now eating full dairy again. And it's wonderful, and I can have cheese, and it's great, which means that my gut has really started healing. And then you have the Cleanse and Calm, which is really a great fiber boost at night. So you saw I had fiber in one of the slides to really help with your GLP-1 signaling. This is full of a complex that gives you that little fiber boost. It also has some other really great ingredients to help you sleep and help you sleep well, so that you're not tossing and turning or getting that wired and tired sensation. So NeoraFit was really formulated specifically to support the pathways of gut signaling, cellular communication, and metabolic responsiveness, which all play together when we're talking about the GLP-1 conversation. So I just wanted to put that in there because it is something that has helped me. All right. So now that we've talked about all the things, guys, are you still with me? I hope you are. I know that was a lot. I wanted to put on here just 7 questions to ask yourself if you're considering a GLP-1 medication. And these are, honest to goodness, the questions I asked myself when I was considering it. Now, first and foremost, you do need to know that you are a hard no. No, you should not. It is contraindicated if you have a family history of medullary thyroid cancer, If you currently have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or pancreatitis, hard no, you're not getting the medication. I'm sorry. But if you don't fall into any of those categories, then these are the things that I just want you to sit with. I want you to ask yourself and maybe talk to your doctor about, right? So, number one, what result am I actually hoping a GLP-1 medication will give me? We talked about that at the very beginning. Are you looking to quiet your appetite? Are you looking for more energy? Are you looking for blood sugar stability? Get really clear on what that result actually would be. Number two, do I meet the medical criteria for a GLP-1 medication? This is where I stopped because I don't. I don't actually meet the medical criteria. And yes, you can go outside of insurance, you can go outside of your doctor, and you can pay a lot of money to get GLP-1s if you don't, or GLP-1 meds if you don't meet the medical criteria. But as a medical health professional, I kind of just sat with that and thought, if I don't meet the medical criteria, I don't know that it's necessarily the right answer for my body right now. So I think that's an important question to ask yourself. Again, the medical criteria is that BMI of greater than or equal to 27 and one other comorbidity like heart disease, high cholesterol, something like that. Third question, am I doing everything I can to optimize my natural GLP-1 production and my body's responsiveness? This is a big question for me because I think that if you're considering a prescriptive medication, you should also ask yourself if you're willing to try a prescriptive plan for 12 weeks in which you look at food and movement as medicine. Because like I talked about when they did the research, the GLP-1 medication was one piece of the puzzle. And then they also combined that with exercise strength training program. They worked with a dietitian and they worked with a behavioral therapist. So are you willing for 12 weeks? This was something I kind of asked myself too, like, okay, let's do 12 weeks of a prescriptive specific plan where I'm looking at food and movement as medicine and then reevaluate. Because if at the end of those 12 weeks, you still feel like you need a little something extra, you feel like you didn't really get anywhere and you want to talk to your doctor about a GLP-1 medication, awesome. You have a great foundation to do exceptionally well with the medication. Or maybe you get to the end of the 12 weeks and you're thinking like, you know what? Actually, I feel really good. I think I got this under control. Not many of us actually stick to something for 12 weeks, you guys. Like I told you before, I was that cyclical up and down with a plan, and I'm a physical therapist. So I want you to ask yourself that. Number 4, do I want to potentially be on medication for the rest of my life? That is a personal question. There is no right or wrong answer. It is just a possibility because very often there's a very high percentage of people who, when they take GLP-1 medication and then come off of it, they regain a significant amount of weight. That is just, it is what it is. So quite often they stay on a microdose like for the longevity. That's kind of common practice. So not to say that you couldn't, but just to say that it is a real possibility that you might be on it for the longevity, which totally fine. PMID for the paper she just mentioned. Oh, I think maybe is someone talking about PubMed. They might be talking about research, Katie. Sorry, Katie's throwing things in my chat because I can't see your chat. So someone might be talking about where to access some of this research. I'm not sure because I can't see the chat. Okay, number 5, what support systems will be in place while I am on the medication if I'm going to take the medication? Am I eating enough protein? Am I preserving muscle? We talked about that. That is very, very important to longevity and health. Am I supporting my gut health? Because if your gut health is crap, it's not going to really do it. The GLP-1 medication will still do something for you, but it could be a lot better and you'll feel a lot better if your gut health is improved, right? Are you managing stress and sleep? GLP-1 can reduce appetite, but your support really determines your outcomes with it. Oh, someone's asking for, I'll get in the chat, Katie, and see which question you're talking about. Someone's asking for something, or maybe someone can text me or DM me and I'll answer that question because I'm not really sure what the question is or what someone's asking for. If they're asking for research articles, I can look them up. Oh, you answered. Okay, great. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a mess right now because I can't see the YouTube chat. So I hope you're all having a blast in there because I have a lot of FOMO right now, not being able to see any of it. Okay, number 6. this is a very personal question. Do I have a history of an eating disorder? You guys, this is actually something I asked myself because I do. I do. Senior year of high school, there was a period of time, it was a very short period of time, but I was very sad. I was very stressed. I was not in a great place. And the one thing I could control in my life was how much food I put in my mouth. And so I controlled it and I didn't do a good job of it. And I kind of abused that control. And thank God he brought me out of that place. But I thought to myself, you know what? That is in my history. And would it be wise for someone with that in their history to be on an appetite suppressant? For me, I thought maybe not. So that's just something to sit with if that also might live in your history. And then lastly, am I viewing GLP-1s as the solution, GLP-1 medication, as the solution or as one piece of the puzzle? Because like I said, we have the GLP-1 medications and they work. But if we're ultimately going for longevity, health, energy, clarity, we need other pieces of that puzzle. We need to maintain and sustain our muscle. We need to maintain and sustain our bone density. The GLP-1 will help with appetite regulation, right? Nutrition is going to help with blood sugar and sustain or maintaining that lean muscle mass. Movement is going to help with that lean muscle mass and insulin sensitivity. And then lifestyle and kind of everything in your environment is going to lean more towards helping with hormonal signaling and all of that. So there are a lot of things about our health that we can work out. And I don't want that to overwhelm you. I want that to really empower you because that means that there's a lot of things that are actually within your control. Okay. Guys, that was a lot. That was a lot. We've spent like, I don't know, I want to say 30 minutes, but I probably went over talking about all of the communication between the gut, the brain, the body. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about GLP-1, how it works in your body, what it does, how the medication helps, how you can improve that naturally. I truly, truly hope that you feel more empowered now and you feel armed with the information you need to make the right decision for you, along with appropriate medical guidance from your doctor. Because really, like I said at the very beginning, this is all so nuanced and there's layers to all of this. And if you're considering a GLP-1 injection, then you should talk to your doctor. You should have that conversation. You should discuss your family history, your biology, and all of that. But whether or not you choose to do a GLP-1 injection, I mean, that's completely up to you. Either way, I want you to ask yourself, am I getting support? Because when communication improves, results follow, but only if the environment supports it. That is why Katie and I created this beautiful little corner of the internet called the Health Hub to really help support those of you who either want an injectable, don't want an injectable, don't even know what they are, and serve you in there. So Katie is going to take it away now, and I'm going to shut up.
Yeah. So first of all, can we just all give a big thank you to Carrie? Don't forget, we're going to be doing the giveaway in a couple of minutes, but a huge thank you to Carrie. I know that she's going to try to get into the chat bar while we chat for a couple of minutes, just about a few things. So Carrie and I, as I mentioned, we both come from a wellness background. Carrie is certified in all things nutrition. She knows the importance of movement. She understands how the body works. She actually, for the past year, has helped me actually rectify a lot of the things that went amiss in my own wellness journey, coming from a long history, 12 years of really marketing fitness programs and being a constant before and after. And that really did have a huge impact on my overall wellness, especially as I've been getting older. And so when we look at health overall, we really look at it from a more holistic standpoint. And so many of the people that we've been honored and excited to be able to work with are the people who some are, they are taking a GLP-1 medication and others are not. But we have both really armed ourselves with supplementation, as we mentioned before, that has really helped both of us stimulate our GLP-1 naturally. And for a lot of our clients, it's actually helped them continue on their wellness journey too. So that is the three-part system that we share. But what I wanted to share with you is the Health Hub that we actually have created as well. So When you look, I'm actually going to share my screen. I will go ahead and do that. So if you guys can see this, I'm going to add that over to the stage. This is our Re-Rise Health Hub, and we are growing. We are at about 128 members. And these are people, some who are taking GLP-1 medications, others who are not, but all of them have committed to at least one of the supplements. We always recommend the 3-part supplement system that we shared of NeoraFit, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But just to give you like an inside glimpse, we are very proud of the community that we are creating, the women who are in there. I didn't get in there yet to do my commenting, but the foods that they're sharing, the workouts that they're doing, the suggestions that they're having, the accountability. And you will notice that there is a variety of different ages that are within this group. And on top of that, we have a really, really powerful guide section to help you make it wellness overall something you enjoy. It's not just something where you feel like, oh, I got to work out, I got to eat healthy. We look at food more medicinally, like how you can feel better when you're eating well, and also just how to make things fun in terms of your wellness and your tracking of your movement. And so we do things like we have fitness trackers, we have step trackers. Carrie also created, I like really have to shout her out because this resource was no joke. It's so good. I just got to like give this to you because you're going to be like, what in the world is that? So Carrie created this beautiful wellness tracker that all of our clients get when they get started in the Health Hub. So I just wanted to share this with you because in my opinion, this has been just a game changer for a lot of people. It's an easy print item. She has a downloadable within that group that you can actually get printed off of Canva. Canva is super cheap, but it's a really great way for you to get excited and amped about that as well. So with all of that being said, one of the questions you might have is, well, what is the supplementation? Like, how am I going to be a part of the hub? So the first thing that I want you to do is I actually want you to write your name down below, because remember we said we're going to be giving away a bottle of the Firm Cream, which is an $85 value. So what I need for you to do is in the comment section, I need for you to actually just write your name. So write your name down there. And while you're doing that, I'm going to play for you a video that really describes what it is in just a few words. So I'm going to remove this from the screen. And then go ahead and put your names, everybody. We are going to add this to the stage. Is that working? I don't think it's coming up. So hold on. Let me get rid of that. Try this again. Let's do this. Okay. There she is. We are going to add to the stage. Do you guys all see this screen? Perfect. Do you guys see it? I think it's working now. Okay, let's try it again.
Do you ever feel like your body is struggling to keep up? Between busy schedules, cravings, energy crashes, lack of sleep, hormones, bloating, and more, your body is constantly asking for support. And now you can give it what it needs around the clock. Meet NeoraFit Wellness and Weight Management System, a holistic 3-step supplement routine designed to fuel your metabolic, digestive, and immune systems 24/7. 3 simple moments in your day. 1, healthier, better feeling you. Kickstart your day by adding Slim & Skin to your coffee or morning beverage. This one little packet works hard to help nourish your hair, skin, and nails, support healthy joints, bones, and eyes, provides natural energy, and even metabolism support. So why is the right collagen critical? Because your body needs highly absorbable, high-grade collagen peptides to replenish what naturally decreases as we age. And because different collagens provide different benefits, Neora uses 13 separate types of only the purest, sustainably sourced marine collagen to give you a full spectrum of support. Our collagen is also hydrolyzed for max absorption. Slim and Skin also includes hyaluronic acid for an extra dose of hydration from the inside out, MCT for clean, focused energy to fuel your day, as well as our exclusive Slim Fuel Blend, which helps support your metabolism. This is your on-the-go midday reset, and it's as easy as popping a pixie stick wherever you are. Block and Balance is a unique blend of not only multiple probiotics, but also multiple prebiotics that act as a food source for those probiotics, and a host of immune-supporting B vitamins and vitamin C and vitamin D. So how is gut health connected to your overall well-being and even your long-term weight loss goals? Because your gut is your body's command center. It regulates digestion, cravings, energy levels, mood, immunity, and how efficiently you use and store nutrients. Gut health is also foundational to the natural GLP-1 production. When your gut microbiome is balanced, your body can better manage weight, reduce bloating, absorb nutrients effectively, and support healthy metabolic processes. End your day with calm, balance, and gentle detox support. Cleanse and Calm helps your body gently flush toxins, soothe digestion, promote relaxation, and improve sleep quality. And it's going to help set your metabolism up for a fresh start the next morning. Good quality sleep isn't just important, it's foundational. Proper sleep helps to regulate your hormones, metabolic efficiency, and more. Our body was designed to work hard for us while we sleep, flushing toxins and restoring energy. But often, lifestyle habits and environmental factors keep us in a wired and tired state where we never really feel truly rested, no matter how much we sleep. Cleanse and Calm helps support your body while you sleep so that your body can do what it's intended to do. And what makes NeoraFit even better? What's inside and what's not. NeoraFit is made with clean, premium, responsibly sourced ingredients. No fillers, no artificial colors or flavors, no unnecessary additives, no GMOs, just high quality, science-backed ingredients that your body knows exactly what to do with. Because your wellness routine shouldn't be confusing or questionable. It should be clean, effective, transparent, and something that you can feel good about taking every single day. With NeoraFit, you're not just supporting your health, you're choosing a higher standard. 3 simple steps: morning, midday, and night. NeoraFit delivers 3 hardworking supplements in one set, giving you an around-the-clock solution that supports your body and health from the inside out. This is your key to better overall health, a balanced body, and achieving your long-term weight and fitness goals. Feel better, look better, and live better with NeoraFit.
Well, you guys, let me first of all remove that from the screen and announce the winner. But before I do, hold on 1 second. I just really quickly. So first of all, congratulations to Kristen Schuler. You are the winner this evening of the Firm Cream. So I need for you to send an email and let me know at info@katieursta.com. So you can give that over to me. And you guys, we are so grateful that you joined us this evening. My call to action for you is to get support. Get support. You now have, you are now armed with 7 questions to really ask to start the conversation about GLP-1s. But no matter what your wellness journey is, NeoraFit is a really great way for you to stimulate the GLP-1 naturally or support what you're doing with the GLP-1 you are using, Or if you are done using a GLP-1, this is a really great way for you to continue to maintain those incredible results that maybe you have gotten. So what you can do is you can actually send a message to the brand partner who invited you here today. And I want you to just tell them like what you thought, what you learned, and then ask for more information about joining the Health Hub. That place is bumping. We are so excited about it, and we would be honored to have you be a part of it. So last thing is I just want to finish this all out by very quickly adding Carrie back to the stage. She's like, I didn't know you were adding me to the stage. And anything else that you want to close out with? And Carrie, I would love for you to just share where they can connect with you, especially after maybe digesting this information, where they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I want to share is that I'm super proud of you all for being here tonight. Our time is super precious. It's super valuable. And just by being here and spending this time with us, you're showing that you are invested in living healthier. And I love that for you. And that's the first step to really getting there. So thank you for being here so much. You can find me on Instagram. It's Dr. Carrie Briscoe on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. It's Carrie Cheadle Briscoe. I had to throw my maiden name in there. All the socials, I'm there. And I'm very responsive in the DMs. So if you have a question, by all means, shoot it my way and I'll get right back to you.
This was so good. I am so grateful for just your mentorship with all things wellness. And it has been so helpful. And if you want to work with Carrie directly, come into the Health Hub. So that's where we are hanging out. Your brand partner can put you in there. They can get you set up with NeoraFit, and Carrie's in there and she's always helping us out and answering questions. We would love to see you in there as well. All right, you guys, thanks so much. I hope everybody has a great night and feels really equipped to ask good questions.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.